Добрый день. Мы продолжаем нашу серию лекций. Меня зовут Антонина Громыко. Я представляю Институт Шиферса. Одна из наших задач на острове – это проведение лекций ключевых визионеров. И мы подобрали одного из визионеров и пригласили для участия на острове. Это Мичинага Кохно из Японии. И, пожалуй, мы начнем с того, что представим нашего спикера и поговорим немного о той экспертизе, которую он представляет, и о его видении будущего. Okay, so let's begin. Could you please, for the beginning, introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your professional experience?
Okay, my name is Mich Kono. I'm from Japan. I'm a freelance consultant in the area of smart cities based in Japan. I used to work for a company, Hitachi, for many years, and during the last 10 years with Hitachi, I worked in smart city business division, and I worked in several smart city projects in Japan and overseas. And after retiring from the company, I started my own company called Mich Creative City Designers, which is a freelance consultancy company in the area of smart cities. And I've been visiting many countries and attending the conferences on the smart cities and meeting with the key persons of smart cities in the world, including Russia. And I've been taking part in Eastern Economic Forum in 2016 and 2017 with the subject of smart cities or sustainable development of the region. And so I'm very much pleased to be invited as one of the lecturers of this Ostrovе, which is a very interesting attempt to find a new way of universities of being.
So your main lecture would be tomorrow on 16th of July. What are your expectations before the lecture? What are you expecting to say, and what is your main message?
I've been told recently that smart cities and urban development is kind of big issues in Russia, and especially the Federal Ministry of Construction, Housing and Utility have started some smart cities project in Russia, including Moscow and in other cities. But what I've been feeling with the Russian cities is that Russian urban development tended to be very function-oriented, and in other areas of the world, like in the States and in Europe and in Japan, the purpose of developing smart cities becoming to develop cities to attract creative people. And so the smart cities in the United States, Europe, in Japan are quite close to the creative cities. And in order to attract creative people, it is necessary to make the people meet together in the cities. And so, in a sense, the Russian urban development is still in the phase of zoning. This area is for the residential, for business, for education. But now, in the major cities in the world, trying to mix up these functions in order to make the people meet together and talk to each other. So I'd like to bring this message about the current trends in the urban development, and especially to make the cities creative or innovative in the Russian perspective. And Russia has huge land, but it is not the problem of the area, but it is necessary to bring people together. So my message in my lecture tomorrow afternoon is that this approach of bringing people together, discussing, talking on the street kind of thing. So that the way the city will provide the opportunities for the young people to meet different people. That's the center of my message for tomorrow.
Okay, so I would like to discuss this topic a little bit more. What I wanted to ask you is, I mean, it's a very interesting concept of coming from functional planning of the city to creating this creative space and looking at the city as a creative space. But if you're coming from this traditional approach, it's not quite understandable what you have to change, apart from just mixing the zones and making them smaller and just creating like zones that are mixed. Could you please say a few more words about how can we depart from this traditional way of city planning to this creative cities, and what are the main prerequisites for creating a zone that really attracts creative people?
Yes, actually, it may be difficult because most of the cities in Russia has been developed in that way, that functional development, and but because the transportation, new technologies are coming, and for example, the ICT, information and communication technologies, bring people closer. And but the important thing is that not the information only, but the actual meeting of the people is very important. And another development or technological development in transportation will make them easier to move around the city using, you know, the LRT and other automated vehicles, or the other means of the new transportation or smart transportation. Then even if the location or the functions are separated in the current planning of the city, but they can bring somewhere a common place to where the other people, different people come together to meet. And after that, you can bring the actual facilities together. So, for example, this Far Eastern Federal University is isolated in an island. But after you redevelop the central part of the city of Vladivostok, then you can bring back the university to the central city center to mix up the students with the business people. Yeah, that kind of 30, 40 years plan.
This was actually my next question, because it's obviously not your first time in Vladivostok, and at Far Eastern Federal University you're a frequent guest here. Yes. So could you maybe say, on the example of Vladivostok and this campus, how would you see that the concept of smart cities would bring the fresh blood or bring development to this area?
Yes, just as I mentioned immediately before there, this and this structure of isolating university is not very good idea. But if you think this is a kind of refugee campus, while the old city centers are developed, then you could have, you know, the central part is being redeveloped, and also you have new opera house on the harbor side, and then that area will be redeveloped for cultural activities. Then you can bring back the university, and this Japan experienced this in the last 40, 30 years. And about 40 years ago, many universities which were located in central Tokyo moved out to the suburbs and developed a very fancy campus outside of the city. But soon after they moved, they realized that it was difficult to attract students, and also the communication between students, university professors, and the business people split. And so they are now moving back to the central Tokyo in the high-rise buildings where the students, university professors can meet at the cafe on the street with the business people around the campus. And so once the redevelopment of the central part of the city, this my recommendation is to bring back this university to the city center and use this lovely campus as a site for the convention and expo kind of thing, and also as you can bring some just like aquarium and other attraction for the not only for the overseas visitors or for the entire citizen of the city.
And maybe laboratories.
Yes, laboratory is also very. So some facilities, research facilities, which cannot be located in the city center, can be placed here. But anyway, you can have that kind of long-term plan.
Also, well, just to finish with the topic of your expertise with the smart cities, could you say a few final words? So what is the city of the future? Because your lecture is called the cities of the future.
Yes. City of the future means that the city which satisfies the people who are living there. And so the most recent, there have been many different definitions of smart cities, but one which is recently mostly accepted is that the city to solve the problems which is specific to the city, and the city which is capable of solving the problem together with the residents. So the engagement of the people is very important. And so in the future cities, people feel that they are taking part in the administration and operation of the city together. They are not just, in the past, the city administration and the people are just supplier and the demand side. But now, future city means that the residents, people who are living there, are taking part in the administration of the city to make the life there more comfortable and happier.
Okay. So the members of Ostrovе project are mostly young active people who are members of National Technological Initiative, which is a recently widespread initiative about Russia, about building future of tech Russia and building different future markets in various fields, from let's say biotech to automated transport and many other areas. So basically these are mostly people with their projects, with their entrepreneur ideas and everything like that. So could you please say a few words as an advice maybe for those participants of this project?
From the viewpoint of the smart cities, which is my expertise, in old days, smart cities were led by technologies. So technology came first, and 10 years ago, people thought that smart cities are cities where technologies are applied. But as I mentioned, now smart cities are regarded as the city to solve the problems. And technologies are enabler of the solution of the problems. And so I'd like to remind the young entrepreneur in new technologies that as long, as long as the technology develops and also the technology which can be used in the city broaden, the scope of the technology is broadened, then the problems which can be solved become broadened. So in the city development or urban development, the people should, including the young entrepreneurs, shouldn't look at the technology first, but they should look at the problems. But if they have broader technologies, they can solve broader problems. And so it means that the area where these new technology or new businesses can work, can be active, this area will be broadened. So I'd like to encourage these people to find problems and bring their technology or new ideas to solve these new problems to expand their market.
Okay, very interesting. And for the ending, I wanted to talk a little bit outside the issue of smart cities only. It's very important for us here to, so the program is very complex here, but one part of them are visionary lecturers. And we're bringing a lot of lecturers. Many of them are Russians, and well, it's important in terms of building up domestic expertise and domestic vision of what is ahead. But we also think it's very important to bring foreign guests who would bring their expertise and explain about some of the most important trends that are existing right now in the world. So my question is for you as a person from Japan, how do you assess the possibilities and the prospects for cooperation with Russia? And I mean, again, since you're a frequent guest here, it seems that you have certain interest for Russia, and I hope you see certain specific prospects. Could you please bring up a little bit on this topic?
Yes. As a person from Japan, on the highest political level, the Japanese government is very eager to to make their political relations between two countries better and better. And the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe frequently visits Russia and meet Mr. Putin. But still, there are in the industrial side in Japan, the investment from Japanese industry into Russia is not so much as expected. And I'm not very much engaged in the business cooperation, but as I'm very much interested in the kind of grassroots activities and communication between people. And I'm proposing one of my friends who is a politician in Japan to exchange the school excursion between Russia and Japan. And that kind of exchange and seeing the reality of the country for each other will create new communication. So I feel that at the top there is a governmental negotiation kind of thing. And just like academic cooperation is going on, and the exchange of people and exchange of business on the business layer. So it is necessary to enhance the exchange of the people in every layer of the people, and I personally paying attention and also making effort in Japan to improve the communication of the citizens level, mainly in the tourism and other cultural exchange.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.